channel after news channel after news channel. Ever wonder why they report the same news? This is Wake Up America.
Brought to you by Citizen Stringer.
The media has become absolute lunacy. What makes us different? We just tell the truth. Daily headlines, politics, social issues, focusing on headlines that the mainstream media ignores. Conservative to the core and honest, sometimes to a fault. Unapologetically American. Welcome to Wake Up America with your host, Stephen Oatley.
All right, welcome. Sunday morning. Sunday. Patriots are out. Not that I care. I don't really watch the NFL anymore because, well, they went woke and I don't care for it. So they lost horribly, 30 points, I think, to the Bills yesterday. Who cares? Not a big fan of sports anymore. I decided that I was going to go live because our weather is supposed to start right around 2 o'clock today. I plan on going out so you guys can see what the weather's like. And in order to do that properly, I've got the live view plugged in over there, just getting it all charged and making sure it's working. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run multiple cameras from my truck. So I'm going to use the ATEM and a couple of the other cameras, and I'm also going to bring this camera, this bad boy right there, that guy. I'm going to bring that with the Hollyland so I could actually leave the vehicle if I needed to, if there is something. Because one of the things we want to do is get B-roll. But anyway, so the weather is, so far, it's already getting pretty nutty. For anyone that doesn't know, the East Coast is getting hammered currently. U.S. Airlines have canceled more than 2,400 flights as of 8:45 this morning, according to FlightAware. American Airlines, which operates out of its major Charlotte hub, has canceled 516 flights nationwide, which is 18% of its total Sunday schedule. American, Delta, Southwest, and United have all issued travel waivers, allowing customers impacted by the storm to rebook flights free of charge. There's going to be even more flights canceled. Right now, it's just frigid. I think when I was driving in here to the office this morning, it was sitting right about 14 degrees. So it's pretty cold. As I sit here right now, I'm wearing sweats and stuff, but my toes are quite cold right now. Over 125,000 customers are currently without power in the southeastern United States, including 67,000 in Georgia. Florida has 27,000 people without power. South Carolina has 18,000 people. Alabama with 12,000 people. And more than 80 million people are under weather advisories, winter weather warnings or alerts or advisories as of this morning, which is pretty crazy. The storm is currently impacting southeast states, bringing with it all facets of precipitation, including rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Much of the precipitation across... That's a stupid word. I hate that word. I hate the way it sounds and everything. Precipitation. Anyway... Much of the precipitation across the southern Appalachian has changed over to snow this morning, and bands of heavy snow are likely to develop across that region. Later this morning, the storm will track into the mid-Atlantic, bringing with it heavy snow, ice, and rain. By Sunday night into Monday, the system will shift into the northeast and New England, where precipitation is likely to start as snow before changing to heavy rain or coastal regions. And snow across inland regions. Now, one of the things that's interesting is they're saying pretty much the 95 corridor in Northern Virginia, where I live, is going to be, it's going to start as snow, and then this freezing rain and sleet, and then as the sun goes down, even though the sun won't be shining because it's a storm, but when the sun sets and the night sets in, all that is supposed to freeze. So the roads are going to be pretty rough. Where I live, we're west of the 95 corridor, so we're expected to get, they've lowered it now. It used to be 10 to 18 inches earlier in the week. Then it was 6 to 10 inches, and then now it's 3 to 6 inches in snow in our region. But we're kind of on that cusp, almost on the West Virginia line, so we'll likely start getting piled up with some snow. We'll have to wait and see what the weather's going to be like. I want to make sure that, one, our house is good and covered with everything. And secondly, I want to make sure that I can cover this safely from my vehicle. So I'm not going to go, if the roads are all frozen, it doesn't matter if I have four-wheel drive or not. I'm not going to be able to stop. yes, I may be able to go with four-wheel drive. I'm not going to be able to stop. So I'm likely not going to go out if that's the case. But we'll wait and see what happens. The snow, I believe, the wintry weather is supposed to start right around 2 o'clock with us. I'm going to get everything all set up and mess with the ATEM and the other cameras and make sure they're good to go just in case. And, we do have the one camera, and I'll be wearing a lavalier mic this time, so hopefully that fixes some of the sound issues. And instead of taking the back roads, even though they're super nice, we lose connectivity with our live view because there's a massive dead zone for like 4 miles on the back roads. I'll probably just take 89 or 81 up and then go into Loudoun County, which is right on that 95 area, so we'll see what that sleeting rain is. Depending on, again, it all depends on our home situation and whether everything's good there. But so yeah, make sure you stay tuned. Any media feeds are more than welcome to use our, or any media companies are more than welcome to use our footage. Actually, everyone is. You don't need to pay it. The only thing I ask is that you keep our watermark on it. Not going to be too crazy with the watermarks. Anyway, let's talk about some of the other news and the big headlines today. I watched the local news and national news this morning to try to find out a little bit more about this hostage scenario that took place yesterday in Colleyville, Texas, at the synagogue. Shortly before 11 o'clock, a armed man walked into a synagogue and began a standoff that must have lasted pretty close to 11 hours. I believe it concluded around 9:40 last night local time. But it's really weird because a lot of people are reporting, including us, that the man is identified as Mohammed Siddiqui. Now, a group that holds no credence or no moral turpitude with me has claimed that they're representing Mohammed Siddiqui and that he is not the one that's in there. We heard on audio footage in the beginning that man identified himself as the brother of them in some of the terrorist. And I guess I got to give a little bit more so you guys can understand. Afia Siddiqui is an Al-Qaeda operative that was arrested. She was once listed on the FBI's 7 most wanted terrorists worldwide. She was captured in 2008 and 2010. She was sentenced to 86 years in a military prison for her role in shooting at Army and FBI agents in Afghanistan. I believe that was in 2008. She ended up being shot several times after she was unable to shoot anybody. There's a lot of weird stuff that's come out about this because she was wanted for terrorism. She has ties to, familial ties to the chief planner of of September 11th. And I forgot what his name is. And during his interrogation, he actually identified her as one of the financiers, but then he later said that he did it under duress because he was being tortured as he was investigated, blah, blah, blah. The Afia, or however you say her name, Afina Siddiqui, it's kind of interesting because Al-Qaeda, even though she says she's not Al-Qaeda and she's being railroaded, Al-Qaeda has attempted to trade for her several times. James Foley, you may remember him. He was the American journalist that I believe was beheaded by Al-Qaeda. They tried to trade him for her, but the United States government doesn't negotiate with terrorists. They tried to exchange another woman who was killed during a rescue attempt. A short time later, Mueller. And there was a lot of other, a lot. I mean, Al-Qaeda had blown up and committed terrorist attacks across the world, all in response to her being arrested based on their statements. But again, everyone's saying she's innocent. She has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda, which is kind of weird because Al-Qaeda believes that she has everything to do with them. So it's kind of interesting. So what we don't know is if this was actually the brother. What we do know is that it was about her. He was trying to get her released from prison. He thought that if he took 4 Jewish people hostage, that would be achieved somehow. The FBI's elite hostage rescue team flew in from Quantico last night. I believe they said it was a 50-man team, so that's quite a large team. But they flew in from Quantico last night and rescued these hostages without anybody dying, which outside of the hostage taker. It's kind of interesting. I hear a lot on the media this morning, which I don't understand. Is they're saying that this was not an attack. This was, they had this idiot terrorist had a focus just on releasing Afia Siddiqui, but was not targeting Jewish people, which wouldn't make sense because he specifically targeted a Jewish synagogue on Sabbath when he knew people would be there praying. And he's got ties to radical people that hate Jewish. So I don't know how they could say that it's not connected to an assault on Jews. I think it's kind of crazy, really, when you think about it, because I think the media is now covering up for something that's much, much bigger. I've been focusing on social media this morning, and I've seen a lot of going back and forth about whether or not this was tied to anything bigger. Yesterday, when the FBI agent, the chief agent in charge of the Dallas office, was speaking, I mean, he basically said this does have international connections, and they're going to be, checking it out quite a bit. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. I don't know. I got a feeling that they're just going to try to push this under the rug. Maybe Fox News, maybe CNN. I don't even know if CNN's covering it or covering it anymore now that it's all resolved. I know Fox News was talking about it this morning, and we'll look. Someone said, I heard it's not actually her brother. Yeah, and again, this is what's weird, because they said something that conflicts with that, because they said his identity has already been released online. I have not seen anyone else's identity excluding the brother of this person. I have not seen anyone else's identity. And here's the thing. When we were listening to the actual live stream that was coming out of that hostage, out of that synagogue before, he was talking to other people, not the negotiators, and explaining what he was doing and releasing the sister and all that stuff. And they knew who he was. And here's the thing, too, that makes me not believe what's going out right now with mainstream media, is that people immediately knew he was the one because his phone was ringing off the hook. If any of you guys listened to that little bit of live stream with us yesterday before Facebook or whatever cut it off, you have to pay attention to the phone calls. Everybody that was calling him, not the FBI negotiators, but everybody that was calling his cell phone, knew exactly what he was doing. So how people, and knew it was him immediately, without him calling, without him, doing anything, they knew it was him, because you remember he was telling people not to cry. He's not crying. Don't cry for what he's doing. He's going to die, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. We're going to have to just wait and see what happens with it. Mainstream media is not going to be, that truthful about it. And we can't really expect them to. They have a pattern of distorting the truth, and they will continue doing it. And there's nothing we could do. Someone said Fox was the only station to cover the Virginia governor swearing in. Strange. That is not true. We covered it live. And if you watched on Fox, then, well, see what the problem is there, because we covered it live yesterday as well. Glenn Youngkin, and he signed 11 executive orders last night, including leaving the choice to mask up in schools up to the parents for the individual kids. There are 2 school districts in Virginia, I think Alexandria, and I'm not sure what the other county is, 2 school districts that said they are not going to adhere to his executive order. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I know we live in a red district, and we've already talked to our kids, and they will go to school without masks because that's what they want to do. And we are perfectly okay with that, considering both of our children are asthmatics, and the masks do more harm than good for our children based on what we can see and tell based on their asthma. So we'll have to wait and see. He also signs another executive order banning CRT. And I forgot who it is, but the new attorney general for the state came out swinging, and he fired over 30 attorneys within his department. He's opened an investigation in the Loud Public Schools for the sexual assault that took place there several times. He's also opened an investigation into the Virginia Parole Board, who paroled a ton of violent criminals over the past couple of years. Governor Ralph Northam, the very last thing that he did is he pardoned a convicted pedophile. So it just shows, Democrats really back their own. The last thing he did was pardon a convicted pedophile. And I believe the guy was an ex-state senator, a congressman, or something like that. But man, it's crazy. Someone said, have I gotten vaccinated or seen its benefits? There are no benefits I'm not even doing that. No, absolutely not. My wife is vaccinated, but no, absolutely not. There are no benefits to me. Becoming a new me. That's your name on YouTube, becoming a new me. So maybe maybe you're becoming a new me with that vaccination. We'll see how you fare in 6 to 10 years, right? Because no one really knows what's going to happen with that. Tommy said he would love to see the Loudoun School Board all fired. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that school board, the investigation is going to uncover a lot because there's already been a lot of investigation done on the media. Just so people don't know, or just in case people don't know, Loudoun County is very, very wealthy. It's one of the richest counties in the United States, and there's been a lot of weird stuff that has come out of that county. There was a group that was made on Facebook that was run by several board members and teachers where they were publicly doxing any parents who had any anti-vax stance or anti-mask stance or anti-CRT stance. So there's a lot. That's going to be a big investigation. They also had the sexual assault where the minor, I think he was a 15-year-old, dressed up in a dress, went into a female bathroom and sexually assaulted a woman. The school kind of covered that up, sent him to another school where he then sexually assaulted another one. And during his sentencing for his first sexual assault, it turns out there may be even a third sexual assault victim. The judge even said that his psychological evaluation was one of the most concerning he's ever seen. And that's kind of crazy. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with Loudoun County with this new investigation. This attorney general, the new attorney general, I believe he's of Cuban descent. He has also made a statement saying that any George Soros funded city attorney, district attorney, or prosecutor, basically local prosecutor that doesn't go after criminals who are committing crimes based on this whole new soft on crime principle that we're seeing across the United States, that they will charge them on the state level, and he will prosecute those cases, which is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot that's happening. So far, Youngkin has followed through with pretty much everything he said. They said that they were going to open an investigation in Loudoun County. They said they were going to ban CRT. They said they were going to make masks, the parents' option, which it should have been in the first place. If you're uncomfortable with your kid going to school because other kids are not wearing masks, you should homeschool your kid. That's it. It's like going into a place where it says no shirt, no shoes, no service. If you don't have shirts or shoes, you're not going to get service. It's the same thing with the schools. People shouldn't be forced to wear masks and all that stuff. But anyway, that's my opinion. But I have no fault. I don't care if you wear a mask. It doesn't affect me at all. My kids know that too. Some kids are not going to have the option. Some kids will be wearing masks. That's for them and their parents to deal with, and nobody should. I'm not a big fan of people that just walk around and be like, call people sheep because they have a mask on. If that's what they believe, you don't know why they're wearing a mask. Even before COVID, I used to see people wearing masks. You know what I mean? And who cares? It doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? But ever since Joe Biden, went out publicly and said, what did he say? You either get vaccinated or you wear a mask. Those are your choices. Ever since then, I decided that I'm not doing it. I won't wear a mask because it's my prerogative. But I don't care if other people wear a mask. And to be honest, if I walked into a business and they said you got to wear a mask, I would say no and leave. And I have a mask in my jacket pocket right back there, a gaiter that I had to wear when I went to the hospital. Hospitals are different. I'd much rather wear a mask in a hospital anyway, after spending a lot of time in there. Anyway. But that's it. It should be free choice. I mean, that is kind of what the whole principle of America in the first place. There were 2 mass shootings yesterday, by the way. One in Brunswick, Georgia, that claimed the life of one person, killed 5 other people. That took place at a bar. 5 people were wounded, and 1 person died after a shooting Saturday morning at the Bamboo Lounge at 2717 Glen Ave in Brunswick, Georgia. Around 12:30 a.m., an off-duty police officer alerted the Brunswick Police Department after hearing several shots fired inside the club. Early investigations revealed that 2 males were in a verbal dispute when firearms were presented. Shots were fired by both males, leaving 6 victims ranges 25 to 52 with gunshot wounds. 5 victims, 4 females and 1 male, were transported to the Southeast Georgia Health System for treatment. 1 victim then died from their injuries. A 6th male victim was transported to an undisclosed medical facility. No other information is available. Police are asking for the public's help to catch these 2 scumbag shooters. They don't know who they are, and there's no motive other than they got into a verbal dispute. But they're asking people call Detective Carla Fuchs at 912-279-2641. Second mass shooting that took place yesterday was in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Knoxville Police Department said 4 women arrived in the same car at the University of Tennessee Medical Center early Saturday morning. According to police, they all had gunshot wounds. 2 of the women had non-life-threatening injuries, but the other 2 had serious injuries, according to authorities. Police say they found that all 4 women were shot while being in a parked car in the 2700 block of Tarleton Avenue in East Knoxville, and then they drove to UT Medical Center for treatment. No suspects have been arrested as of Saturday afternoon. Knoxville police said they are continuing to investigate the incident. Anyone with information about the incident should reach out to the East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers at 865-215-7165. They could stay anonymous and they may get a cash reward. So if you live in Knoxville and you know your buddy is a gang member and or whatever, just randomly likes to target women sitting in a car, turn them in. Do America a duty. Or better off, don't even turn them in. Take care of that problem yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because scumbags. And that's about the worst of that. There's been 9 mass shootings in the past 7 days, claiming the lives of, I think it's 6 people and injuring 40 others. So, which is good. I know 9 mass shootings in 7 days. You're like, holy crap, that's a lot of mass shootings. How come the news doesn't talk about it? Again, mainstream media doesn't talk about these. They won't talk about the ones that happen at the bars. They won't talk about the ones that happen in the cars. They won't talk about the ones that happen in the low-income areas because they just attribute them to gangs, and so they say they're not mass shootings, even though, by definition, they are mass shootings. But yeah, there was a ton of mass shootings, and the number of 9 mass shootings, it seems like a lot, but we averaged 17 mass shootings last year. I think we finished out the year with, 652 mass shootings, several hundred people dead, way more than when Trump was president. But again, let's not focus on that. There's more gun violence, crime rates are through the roof, but that's all irrelevant because Trump is the bad guy here, not Biden's policies, which are allowing more and more people to be killed. The majority of the mass shootings that we report on here, which is all of them, the offenders are not white, and the victims usually are not white either. You would think that would be a news story, that the majority of the victims in mass shootings are not white, but it's not, because they can't talk about that, because then they would have to actually talk about the mass shootings, and they don't want to talk about the mass shootings because, well, the only time they do it is if it's a fat, balding, middle-aged white man, then they talk about him. But, mainstream media. Can't trust them at all, ever. Anyway, the Border Patrol divers have recovered a body of a deceased man from a gravel pit after running from Texas National Guard. U.S. Border Patrol agents recovered a body of a man believed to be a illegal alien who drowned in a gravel pit while running away from law enforcement on January 7th. Agents from Eagle Pass South Station responded to a call for assistance from the Texas National Guard, who informed them that 2 individuals ran into a gravel pit which was full of water and one did not resurface. Guard members told agents that the 2 men were part of a larger group they were overseeing that were running away from the soldiers. Border Patrol agents with the Eagle Pass Fire and the Eagle Pass Fire Department responded to assist with the rescue. One man who was identified as a Honduran was found at the edge of the gravel pit in need of medical attention. He was transported to a local hospital. The second suspect never resurfaced, and the Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue dive team was called in to assist. The team recovered the body of a male subject from the gravel pit later Saturday morning. Border Patrol did not identify the victim's age or nationality. Many migrants do die attempting to cross the U.S. each year. According to the Houston Chronicle, the United Nations International Organization for Migration has recorded at least 650 deaths of migrants attempting to enter the United States and Mexico in 2021. That's a record high since the organization began collecting data in 2014. Now, it's not surprising that's a record high considering how many people have crossed the Mexican border with the United States. What's not surprising either is the fact that there's a lot more people that have gotten away with it and crossed in the United States and were not apprehended. I think we're up to like 2 million, 1.7 million people that have crossed in fiscal year 2021. Don't hold me to that number, but it's estimated that up to 25%, or what is it, 30 or 25% of the people that have captured, so let's just make it a low number, 1 million people. They estimate for every 1 million people that are captured, there's at least 250,000 that have gotten away. That have, so the people that are being captured are the ones that want to be captured. They're asylum seekers that typically aren't lawbreakers, except for, breaking the law and crossing illegally into the United States seeking asylum. And then you have the other group of people, the 250,000 people that are usually the criminals, the people that don't want to be captured, the drug smugglers, the human traffickers, the gang members, the rapists, the murderers, and everybody else. Those are the people that are crossing into the United States, avoiding apprehension, and then mingling into the United States. And of the people that do get apprehended, they are typically, if they're not straight away deported, they're given a court date, a little bit of money, and released onto the city streets, of which usually 60% of them never even show up to court, and they are here illegally in the United States as well. So we've seen a lot happen with these people crossing the border. We've seen a lot. We've covered it a lot. I mean, we have our border disorder on the border report that we do every year. This is kind of different, unfortunately, because it talks about, people that do die when they cross the border. In the fiscal year 2020, Customs and Border Protection reported 247 deaths at the southwest border, the majority of them occurring in Texas. So again, that's nearly 3 times the amount of people died last year than the previous year. Pretty crazy. On January 14th, Del Rio Sector Border Patrol posted a video captured by their body cam of them rescuing a group that was in distress at the Rio Grande Valley. We have that video on citizenstringer.tv. In fiscal year 2020, or actually citizenstringer.com, in fiscal year 2021, Customs and Border Protection performed more than 13,200 search and rescue efforts at the southwest border, an increase of roughly 150% from fiscal year 2020. Crazy stuff going on at our southern border, but we'll have to see. There's a bunch of stuff going on with Ukraine now. If you didn't know, tensions are heating up between Ukraine and Russia as Russia continues to bolster its troops and equipment presence along the border shared by Ukraine. It comes as Ukraine was struck by a major cyber attack last week as well. The Biden administration on Friday is claiming that the Russians had pre-positioned operatives to conduct a, quote, false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. Not a big conspiracy theory fan or anything like that, but I'm starting to think that our government has a lot more to do with a lot of this stuff than they like to admit. The administration believes that Russia is also attempting to frame Ukraine for the false flag to justify invading their border country. So an official who's sharing the information with news outlets is reportedly doing so on condition of anonymity because the official wasn't authorized to discuss sensitive intelligence on the record, although during the White House press conference on Friday, Press Secretary Jen Psaki confirmed the information the official provided, saying as part of its plans, Russia is laying the groundwork to have the option of fabricating a pretext for invasion, including through sabotage activities and information operations by accusing Ukraine of preparing an imminent attack against Russian forces in Ukraine. So what they're trying to say is that the Russian forces have pre-positioned their own Russian special operators inside Ukraine who are then going to attack Russian troops that are on the border, prompting a widespread invasion of Ukraine. Kind of sounds pretty stupid, but then again, I wouldn't put it past them. I think right now the only thing that our current Biden administration could possibly do to take the attention off of their shitty job at running our country would be to get involved in a international war. I mean, I'm just saying. And Democrats kind of have a pattern of doing that too. So we'll have to wait and see. The official said our information also indicates that Russian influence actors are already starting to fabricate Ukrainian provocations in the state and social media to justify Russian intervention, blah, blah, blah. The news of potential false flag comes as Ukraine was hit by a cyber attack that displayed a warning across government websites saying, be afraid and expect the worst. While Russia... Well, and it doesn't say while Russia, I don't know. It says Ukrainian, all your personal data was uploaded to a public network and all data. Oh shit, I moved my page 1 second. And I don't even know where that article went. I just went the wrong way. Huh. And then it said, yeah, all the data on the computer is destroyed. It's impossible to restore it, said the message, visible on hacked government websites, written in Ukrainian, Russian, and Polish. All information about you has become public. Be afraid and expect the worst. This is for your past, present, and future, the message said. The cyber attack unfolded hours after talks wrapped up with no breakthrough between Russia and Western allies. It's estimated that approximately 70 internet sites of the government bodies, including the Foreign Ministry, the Cabinet of Ministers, and the Security and Defense Council, were all affected by this big hacking breach. Pretty crazy stuff, but again, we'll all just have to pay attention to what happens. And a weird story that's been reported a bunch already. The headline is correct of our story that I didn't read the headline, so it doesn't make any sense. Transgender male beats transgender female in women's swim meet. It's getting weirder and weirder. The headline is correct. During a swim meet last weekend, Leah Thomas, a trans woman on the University of Pennsylvania women's swim team, who has been creating controversy over racking up wins this season, beat out one of the races by another transgender swimmer. That swimmer is Isaac Hennig, a trans male on Yale's women's swim team. If you're having trouble following this, you should try writing about it, April wrote. Some history. Thomas, a 22-year-old senior, competed at the UPenn's men team for 3 seasons before transitioning over to a 2-year period, then joining the women's team in the 2021 season. NCAA rules allow for trans women to compete on a women's team after completing a minimum of 1 year of testosterone suppression treatment. Thomas currently ranks first in the NCAA in the women's 200 freestyle and 500 freestyle, and also ranks 6th in the 1650 free. Isaac Hennig, who is a 20-year-old junior at Yale, spent 3 years on the men's team before joining the women's team this year. He delayed taking hormones for his transition, which enabled him to swim on the women's team. Hennig came out to his coaches and teammates in April 2021 and has gone through social transition, which has included having his things lopped off. As a student athlete coming out, blah, 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 I don't give a shit. So it's all really stupid. They're smashing records. Typically records are broken by a couple of seconds. These ones are broken by 30 plus seconds. And then I heard a comment yesterday that one of these trans athletes compared themselves to, and I forgot who it was, but it was a very famous black athlete, Jackie Robinson, I think. I think one of them seriously compared themselves to Jackie Robinson, which whatever. What happened to women? I mean, they fought for women's rights for a lot of years, right? Americans did, and women did in general in the world. Fought for women's rights for years and years and years, but now everyone's just seemingly forgetting, well, women don't have rights anymore because men can now just be women, according to our whatever it is. I don't even know. What's another bad story out of Tehran, Iran? Iran has never minced words when it comes to its official opinion on the United States. However, a recent video published on the Iranian website highlights the disdain that lies beneath the very thin shroud of diplomacy. The video is titled "Revenge is Definite," and it's an animated short that depicts the assassination of President Donald Trump in response to the assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani on January 3rd, 2020, from an American drone strike in Baghdad. The drone strike was given the green light from President Trump. Now, I watched this video in its entirety. You can find this on citizenstringer.com. Just look up Iranian, and you'll be able to see it on the search bar. The animated video was part of a contest to mark the anniversary of the death of Soleimani. The video is published as just one of the many submissions of the Hero campaign launched by Ayatollah, whatever. The video posted Wednesday on the website for his office appears to show Trump on the golf course in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, being targeted targeted by a drone strike. The film is very detailed, and though there are scenes that reinforce the reason behind the death, or behind the strike is revenge for Soleimani's death, the video threatens that Soleimani's murder and the one who gave the order will pay the price. The animated video was part of a contest to mark the killing of Iran's Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani in 2020, who was slain in an American drone strike in Baghdad. The video centers around a small remote control robot that has a video camera and a laser that could be used to paint a target for an aircraft to know where to drop an ordnance. The video cuts off as you see what appears to be a stealth bomber over what appears to be Donald Trump. And I just want to say, you probably didn't hear about this video. If it wasn't Donald Trump and it was Barack Obama, it would be all over the news. Everybody would be covering it. It would be huge. This would be the Iranian government threatening a former U.S. president, however you want to see. But for some reason, it's Donald Trump, so people can say and do whatever they want. There's no recourse. Well, because our government is soft as shit, to put it plainly. Wouldn't you agree? I think so. There's videos that are going around all over social media right now. These train robberies in Lincoln Heights, Lincoln Heights neighborhood of Los Angeles. You may have heard yesterday the news that there was so much debris from the looted trains that a train actually derailed yesterday, sending 17 freight cars off of the rail. Real story, true story. You can see video on Twitter of the vehicle or of the rail cars actually derailing live because people were there and they were laughing about it because they're scummy individuals. But you could see all that, and it's something that's largely not been covered by social media. The fact that these trains have been looted in this very section, and it's been going on for months and months and months. The trains parked there, I guess, waiting to do whatever, and then people come in big, 50-car caravans with hundreds of people, and they loot these trains. And then the trains, depart, and there's all the debris and all the wrappers and all the garbage left all over the floors. It's just something that I think everyone should pay attention to, but, well, no one does. Nobody cares about that kind of stuff, because why? That's real news. Nobody likes real news. What else? Someone said it happens in Atlanta, too. I don't know. It probably happens everywhere. But yeah, that was your little Sunday morning news. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you, hope you learned something. If you're on the left or the right, I just hope you paid attention to what I have to say. You don't need to agree with what I'm saying. Just listen to it. Again, probably around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. I'm going to go. I obviously got enough sleep last night, but I'm going to go and drive around, depending on the weather, depending on how bad it is, depending on my family and what they want me to do. I'm planning on driving around. Someone said trucker convoy in Canada. I know I keep getting a couple of messages about this. You guys got to understand, if you find something on TikTok, the chances of that thing being real are very slim. I have not found anything about a trucker convoy in Canada. So I don't know what you're talking about. And there's nothing in the news. Let me see here. Nothing in the news. Potato convoy sends message to Ottawa that border needs to reopen. Is that what you're talking about? Canadian Food Inspection Agency suspended trade in fresh, but that was 4 weeks ago. That's not recent. Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about. There is a vaccine mandate that's in place for cross-border truckers re-entering Canada, but that applies mostly to the Canadian truckers. And well, it applies to both because the United States truckers are supposed to have that mandate, but with the Supreme Court ruling on the OSHA mandate, invalidating it, there's a lot of speculation on whether that's going to actually apply. I've seen a lot of trucking news outlets have reported that now that the OSHA mandate is gone, that it hampers the federal government's ability to force people to quarantine when they cross in the United States. I don't know. I don't really care about any of this COVID shit. Because here's the thing. I think if we all stop talking about it, it goes away. Maybe. I mean, probably not, but that's called wishful thinking, boys and girls. A vaccine mandate is now in effect for cross-border truckers coming into Canada. Canadian truckers who are not fully vaccinated will have to show proof of a negative PCR test collected within 72 hours of arriving at the border and will need to quarantine after arrival, while unvaccinated American drivers will be denied entry. This is according to CTV News. Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, Shelley Walker, said her organization would have liked to see a time extension before before implementation, saying, I know there's probably a lot of people out there that said COVID's going to be a long time. Our industry knew about it since November, but there's always the hope that it would go away. Now, we've talked about this before on our other shows. We've talked about this before on Capacity Today. I believe the number's sitting at about 30% of truck drivers, both company drivers and independent operators, say that if they were forced to get the vaccine, they would leave the trucking industry, which that number is probably closer to 20%. Even though some of these trucking companies have offered $1,500, $2,000, $25,000 bonuses for their employees to get vaccinated, I got a far cry that I got a belief that this is going to be gone. Within a couple of days, freight's going to dry up at Canada. Cross-border freight is going to skyrocket because no one's going to be willing to go. You're going to end up paying a unvaccinated tax, and not to say the tax is going to be unvaccinated, because a driver's not going to be able to get there or is going to have to quarantine. What do you think a driver does for 10 days? If that driver's sitting there, you're going to pay him to sit there, or you should be paying them to sit there. So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know. UBC Schnatter School of Business professor, I can't even pronounce his name. He said there will likely be shipping delays as a result of the new mandate, saying you are now looking at an already scarce pool of drivers. Now that pool has got a bit shorter. So what you have to do is you have to re-optimize your trucking, where you take from the vaccinated drivers and hopefully get them across the border. It's a trade-off, because the disruption that a COVID outbreak can cause a company is much higher than the fact that some of them will not be vaccinated, according to CTV. A vaccine mandate is also expected on the U.S. side in the coming days. I believe that the U.S. side, if it's not postponed, because all the trucking organizations are asking them to postpone it, that is supposed to occur on the 21st of this month. And I haven't heard anything about it being postponed. So that's it. I don't know what else is up. I appreciate everyone last night. I couldn't give shout outs to everyone who contributed directly to our stream. We're going to be in Conroe, Texas, I believe it is, 2 weeks from yesterday. We'll be down there in Texas broadcasting the Save America rally live from Texas. Next Sunday, a week from today, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C., probably right about this time. We'll go live. There's going to be a big anti-force mandate march and rally with a ton of huge speakers. We're going to be there live on Sunday, and it's a march from Washington Monument, somewhere else, I forgot. So we'll be there. It starts about 11:30, so I'll probably kick on around 11 once I get there and get parked and all that stuff. And then what else? That's about it. So depending on the weather and all that stuff, we'll see. Someone said you like this hoodie. If you like this hoodie, go buy it. puretruthclothing.com. Buy some coffee too, because we have coffee in stock, and likely if you place an order today, you're going to get a shipping notice in the next, either today or tomorrow, because I'm going to be snowed in and I'm not going to have a lot to do. So I'll be doing that. Someone said hopefully April and Adam are going. They are. Carson Price said, I should go. It's only 4 hours. You better go. It's 19 hours for me and I'm going, so I don't want to hear it. If you're 4 hours away, you better get your ass to Texas. Alrighty, I appreciate all you guys for watching. Everyone on Citizen Stringer, sorry I'm not doing a special for you guys yesterday. We will see you later. What I'm going to do tonight, 8 o'clock, I'm going to play Trump's rally again. Or not the whole rally, I'm just going to play Trump's speech. That'll play from 8 until about 9:30, and then we'll see what we have. Or depending if I'm driving. If I'm driving in bad weather, that'll be on, but then Trump's speech will be live on citizenstringer.tv. Someone said you need other stuffs besides t-shirts, so many at the rally. No, my t-shirts are awesome and I don't care. It's not all about that, but yep. Anyway, guys, I don't want to talk anymore, so I'm going to see you later. Bye.